happens anyway. Hopefully that's better. Morse314 says the mic audio is not on. 100%. 100%. I think we had some audio issues there, but I think we're okay now. Morse314, great to see you. Hope you are doing well. There we go. Let's lower the music a little bit here. Just to get everything balanced out, let me make sure the music's not too loud. I think this is probably better, but thank you Morse314 for the heads up. I kind of saw that as I was like getting ready to start. I was like, something's a little bit messed up with the Yeti, or with the, I call it the Yeti, but it's really a Samsung. I just have a Yeti profile here. But good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. SQL Dev DBA here, and it's Friday, and I'm streaming. It's Friday, and I'm streaming. I know that's weird. Morse314 says you knew what was going on. I had a hunch. It's always something. I always have to look out for something, because there's always like either a keyboard or a microphone or one of the cameras will be messed up. So I'm glad it was just a microphone, and I'm glad I have this. This is a Maono Pro Studio XLR mixer, or XLR interface, and it's really helpful for situations like this where I don't really have to, debug too much. I just unplugged it and plugged it back in. So yeah, crisis averted. There's one time that I didn't even know until I was like 20 minutes in. When I first started streaming, I didn't even know until I was like 20 minutes in. Someone came in and was like, hey, by the way, your audio doesn't work. Fantastic. I think I have to start the whole stream all over again. So that one was a wash. But hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone has had a good week so far, or a good week. It's the weekend. And why am I streaming on a Friday night? Well, I want to get a couple things done, and I figured it would be cool to sort of get them done in front of folks if anyone wants to watch. So we're gonna do some, maybe you can call them speed runs, but they're really not really speed runs. They're just gonna be just browsing through and answering some questions from a few picks of mine for websites to practice SQL. I'm working on something. I'm working on a little project for an academy I'm in, and so one of the things I want to do is get some feedback from myself, or gather some feedback, gather some analytics on W Green. W Green. Thanks for the follow. Hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. Hope everything's going well for you. Thanks for hopping in. I do not have a set schedule, as you can see, so that's why I'm randomly on a Friday. But I wanted to get across a couple of different tools that I may suggest to you folks in a future video of different places to practice SQL for free. One of the big things I think with practicing SQL, learning SQL, is that usually the first step that students get in the whole practicing SQL thing, or even taking a course on SQL, is installing SQL Server, or installing MySQL, or installing Postgres. Let's set the record straight here. That's a DBA's job. If you're taking a class to be a DBA, fantastic. Go ahead and learn the install. But it's 2025. There is absolutely no reason any students should have to install a database platform just to be able to practice SQL. It's excessive. Let's call it excessive. Back in the day, sure, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, heck, maybe even 5 years ago, depending on who you talk to, sure. But now, there's so many tools available online for you that it really just does not make sense for anyone to have to install a database platform on the computer. A lot of people are running Macs. Macs don't like things like SQL Server, right? So can't really install it there. You may not have the resources. You may be on an iPad, right? There's all sorts of limitations. You may not just want to go through the stress. Installing SQL Server is a stressful thing to do. I know a lot of people are like, you know, clicking next. Oh, how stressful is that? The reality is it's a lot of steps. There's a lot of configurations you have to keep in mind. There's a lot of security concerns that you have to be aware of. And if you're not aware of those and you're not a little bit nervous when installing SQL Server, I have news for you. You're not doing it correctly, because you should be very nervous about what you configure. So I want people to be able to practice SQL, to be able to learn SQL if they need to, without having to install anything, because that's stressful. And I don't want you to be stressful. I want you to come into the SQL and database and data analysis and database administration world without going, SQL, I had to install this database once and it was a huge pain in the butt and I just quit halfway and didn't feel like doing it. And the reality is it is a bit of a pain in the butt, but that's like one step. That's like buying a car or putting together a bicycle. You put together a bicycle, it takes you an hour or two, and then you just ride it for the next couple of years. You don't really have to take it apart and put it back together again. So imagine you just bought a pre-built bicycle. That's what I'm trying to sort of get across here for the tools that we want to practice. So I think we can hop in. Let's do a quick tech check. Let's do a quick tech check before we go in. Here we go. All right, we have today a KZZI. I don't know if it's pronounced KZZI. I say that every time. I don't know if it's pronounced KZZI. KZZI K75 Lite. This is the fourth one. This is my fourth of the same exact keyboard, just in a different color. I think this is called like Midnight Sun or something like that. Not really sure. The mouse is a Logitech MX Master 3S. I really like this keyboard. I really like the sound of it. I really like the feel. Again, I have 4 of them, and then I have one of the Pros as well. The Pro is pretty much the same, except it has a couple USB ports here for like an extension. And then I think it has like a dial or a knob or something like that over here on the far right. But I really do like this one, and it's a great feeling keyboard. All right, let's hop in. Let's get to work. We got stuff to do. All right, so the tools I'm going to be going over today, as you see in the description, as you saw in the alert, if you got the alert, are W3Schools, LeetCode, and DataLemur. And what I'm going to do is probably spend about 20 minutes in each one, just tackling some problems, getting a feel for the user interface, maybe checking out some of the tutorials, because I want to get a good feel of what these are. I've browsed these casually over the past many years. I think the newest one to come along has been DataLemur, and I have browsed around. The creator of DataLemur, I think his name is Nick Singh. I apologize if Nick ever watches this. I apologize if I got that wrong. I think it's Nick Singh. He's pretty active on Reddit, and so he sort of promotes it every now and then. He writes lots of blog posts, stuff like that. And so we're gonna give DataLemur a try. LeetCode is a pretty popular one, I would say. There's also a couple other tools like HackerRank, right? But HackerRank I view more as like interview style stuff. Like when I'm gonna give an interview, if I had no other tools, because I set up my own interviews, but if I didn't, I would probably use HackerRank for that. So we're gonna check out W3Schools, DataLemur, and LeetCode and see how they are, see how the user experience is, see how the tutorials are, see how I perform. Because honestly, I don't do this a lot, and I'm curious as to what my skills are for these types of problems. So these are the tutorials. Let's start with W3Schools, right? these are the tutorials on W3Schools. And if you want to get over to W3Schools, at least the SQL section, you should be able to do so right here with the link in the chat. I'll put it in the YouTube chat as well. YouTube, hi. This is like my second stream on YouTube. I usually stream on Twitch. I've been streaming on Twitch for the last couple years. If you don't have my YouTube channel and you're on Twitch, check my YouTube channel out. It's got lots of videos, lots of replays of these streams as well, with chapters, so you don't have to sit through my streams. I mean, the streams is where you get the interactivity, right? And I love streaming. I love interacting with you all, answering your questions whenever I can. But yeah, check out my YouTube channel if you want to see any video tutorials, any product updates. I'm starting to do product updates for SQL stuff now, including what we're going to do here. So yeah, check that out. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with W3Schools. We're going to take a look at a couple of the tutorials. I mean, it starts pretty dang basic, I would say, right? This is pretty 101 stuff. Selecting star, it allows you to sort of try it yourself. Gives you a little option here to get your own SQL server, and that's cool. I like that feature for W3Schools. I don't know if it's a paid feature. Let me just go ahead and open it up in like a new page. Host SQL on Python server. Okay, here's the plans. That's pretty cool too. Looks like, by the way, I just got to get it out there for clarity, for everything. I'm not affiliated with any of these sites. I'm not associated with them. Obviously, they're not mine. I don't know the creators or the staff personally. I am just a user. And not only am I a user, but I'm also a data professional. I've been a data professional for 15 years now, and I'm a hiring manager. And so I'm trying to get more familiar with the tools that people who come to my interviews practice with. And that's what this video is all about, is just sharing these tools. I wouldn't say ranking them. I don't think that's, maybe it's not entirely fair for me to rank them. I'm just going to show them what I like, what I don't like, maybe, how useful I find them, that sort of thing. Okay, so I guess you can create your own SQL server. That's cool. That must be a new-ish feature. I'm not going to do that right now, but it's good to know that that's a thing. Maybe I'll check that out sometime in the future. But right now, I just want to focus on the SQL side and just the practice problems that they have there available for you on the website. And that's another big thing, right? I'm on my Mac right now. You can be on your iPad, you can be on your Mac, you can be on your Windows PC if you want to, but the point here is not to install anything. So I have a trusty, let's go to this camera here. I have a trusty timer here. It's a Pomodoro timer. And what I'm going to do is set it to 25 minutes per site. And when the 25 minutes is up, that's when I'll switch sites, sort of collect my thoughts and switch sites. So I'm going to set it for 25 minutes right now, and then we're going to get started. All right, so we have SQL statements. We have a select. Just gives you sort of like a bit of a demo database. That's pretty cool. Okay, gives you like a demo tables. We have customer tables. It shows you how to select everything from it. This is just getting used to things, right? I think, yeah, I mean, you can look up certain concepts. You can look up ins. You can look up, probably exists is somewhere here. Here's databases. So this is not only the SQL code, like select statements and all that, but it's also database management stuff. So if you're looking for DBA type stuff, go to SQL databases section. That gives you stuff like, creating databases, backing them up. And this is just general SQL stuff, right? Which is pretty cool. It's fairly basic. It doesn't go into too much detail here. It's fairly basic. Indexes, what they are. Of course, there's industry experts that you're going to want to go to. The folks like Brent Ozar, the folks like Eric Darling, Kendra Little for SQL Server. You're going to want to go to Jeff Smith for Oracle. Brent Ozar is also doing a Postgres one. Smartpostgres.com, I think, is his site. So you might want to go to them for expert level stuff. But as far as basic knowledge, this would be a good place to do, and I think they have like little exercises. But I want to say I can do exercises, right? Here we go, data analytics. This is Excel though. I could swear there's like a SQL area for data analytics. I guess SQL. Okay, back end. We're back end people. That's what we are. Just go in the back room and take care of the cockroach problem. That's what they are. So let's go to the exercises for SQL. Let's test out some of our skills. So we're in the SQL exercises section right here. Okay, that's cool. And then we're just gonna try some syntax. Let's try some syntax. But this is, I want to sort of get hands-on. Like, I'm okay with this type of stuff. Let's see. Yeah, okay. Let's see what we can get. Let's see what we can do here. Which SQL statement is used to select all records from a table named customers? Search, select star from customers. Dear Jonathan B3. Hola, hola. ¿Qué onda? ¿Cómo te trata la vida? Hola, Jonathan. Espero que estés muy bien. Estamos aquí, estamos en inglés hoy, obviamente, pero cualquier pregunta que tengas, estamos aquí. Voy a hacer este directo también el domingo en español. Pero va a ser ejercicio. Estamos bregando con ejercicios de SQL, de aprender SQL. And Pedro, hello. And thank you very much for the follow. Hope you are having a wonderful Friday so far and a wonderful weekend. Depending on where you are, it might be Saturday already. Pedro Villas is Portuguese too. Falo quase nada português. Cara. So, desculpa. Quase nada. Sorry, man. I do not speak very much or very good Portuguese at all. Conversationally, I used to a long time ago when I worked retail. I worked at a very popular store for Brazilian folks. So the Portuguese that I spoke, or the little I knew, was the Brazilian Portuguese. So hope you are doing well, Pedro. Thank you so much. Obrigado pelo follow. All right, so we got the correct answer. That's fantastic. 15 years of data analysis experience will do that for you. You get the first question on W3Schools correct. What is a table in a database? Okay. Structure said organized data. Yep. It's nothing else. It's nothing else. Next question. Oh, we're doing really well here. So far, so good. All these years of training just for this moment. Are SQL keywords case sensitive? No. Okay. This is a I'm going to say no. I know Oracle is Oracle's case sensitive, or any database can be case sensitive for like object fields, tables, that sort of thing, and obviously values. But I don't believe anything is. Yeah, okay. Well, yeah. I clicked submit answer before I did anything. Why is a semicolon used at the end of SQL statements? To separate multiple statements. Yeah, that's super. Congratulations. Okay, we are getting the hang for exercises, but I want like some. Listen, quiz questions, they're cool. ChatGPT can do this though. So can we get? Okay, we moved on to select, but is there? There's no. Can I write queries here? I could swear I could write queries. What if I go to SQL Server, SQL Quiz, maybe? Test contains 25 questions. There's no time limit. The test is not official. Just a nice way to see how much you know or don't know about SQL. 1 point for each correct answer. Let's start the SQL quiz. I could, and if someone's out there and can correct me if I'm wrong, I could have sworn W3Schools actually lets you type stuff out. If it doesn't, either something changed or I just don't remember it well enough. What does SQL stand for? Structured query language. However, the pronunciation is important, right? The pronunciation is interesting because It used to be QL when it first started, and then SQL was the second iteration or the sequel of QL. So SQL or SQL, you can pronounce it either way. Anyone who tries to tell you that it's SQL or SQL and only one of those, they are incorrect. Let's clear this air right now. They are completely incorrect. And you want to know how I know? Because if you search on YouTube for a video called, if you search on YouTube for SQL Server Miller Lite, and I know that sounds weird, it's a beer and a database platform, but you will find a video where we have Bill Gates, yes, that Bill Gates, saying the word SQL Server and also saying SQL Server in the span of like 3 minutes, because it's a Miller Lite commercial, believe it or not. I don't know how. The 80s was such a cool, or maybe it was the 90s, but it was such a cool time because they had Miller Lite commercials combined with SQL Server commercials. Such a cool thing. Anyway, anyone who tries to tell you it's SQL or SQL, they're both correct, and that person is wrong. W3Schools is not performing super quickly, or maybe that's my internet, but I think if it was my internet, I wouldn't be able to stream very easily, right? So it's very strange. All right, let's see if we can refresh this maybe. Oh no, I lost question 1. Pedro says, in a business environment, is one of the two used more? Oh, you mean SQL versus SQL versus SQL? That's a great question. I've worked in maybe like six companies as a database administrator, as a data analyst, that sort of thing. And SQL is usually the most common one that I've ever, even by people who are not in the data space, like my managers the people I report to have often been non-data people, and they just pronounce it SQL. There's a lot of people who also think that SQL just means SQL Server. In fact, on Reddit, that's a really popular thing. If you go to the SQL subreddit, r/SQL, you'll see that 95% of the questions are SQL Server questions. And even when you post a question, people automatically respond with a SQL Server answer. And it's like, slow down. There's other database platforms. So I would say SQL is probably more popular, but you can say SQL. In Spanish and in Portuguese, right? It's more SQL, SQL in Portuguese, I think, SQL. The letters themselves in languages other than English are probably more popular, but in English, SQL is probably the more popular one. That's why even in Spanish, I pronounce my name SQL to FDBA, even in Spanish. All right, structured query language, right? We got it. We did it. Is it really going to be this slow the whole time? All right, we're 10 minutes into to W3Schools, and so far this one's not looking good. Am I supposed to like change? Oh, okay. I'm gonna say this is my computer, right? I'm gonna try to. It's got to be my computer, right? Look, everything else works until I get to the quiz. It's like it doesn't want me to take this quiz. Okay, there we go. What SQL statement is used to extract data from a database? We'll say select. We'll say select. Pedro says, yeah, we spell exactly. Es que QP, right? K is Q, I think, in Portuguese. So yes, SQL, I think. So which statement is used to update data in a database? Update. It's which SQL statement is used to delete data from a database? Delete or truncate, but technically truncate is not a delete. truncate is a table modification where you just clear the table completely. So that's important to know. Which SQL statement is used to insert new data into a database? Insert into. Let's see. Yeah, Pedro says SQL, more or less. Yeah, SQL. Yep, agreed. With SQL, how do you select a column name first name from a table named persons? Okay, we select persons dot first name, or select first name dot persons. Yeah, I mean technically this one's correct too, but only if the from has persons in it, right? So technically the third one's probably just a little bit tricky. Oh no, this is extract. No, it's select. With SQL, how do you select all the columns from a table named persons? Well, you would select star from persons, but a lot of people will tell you don't select star. I am perfectly okay with you selecting star if I'm your manager, you know, or I'm training. I say it's perfectly fine to select star as long as you have a top something if you're in SQL Server or you know, whatever it is. Whatever accepts star, or limit if you're in, I think Postgres uses limit if I'm not mistaken, or row num, right? Row num if you're in Oracle. As long as you have a limiting filter to the first 100 records, 500 records, 1,000 records, whatever your preference is, just don't select star. Stars, no. Just not everything star, right? Star is okay as long as you have a limit on the number of records received. With SQL, how do you select all the records from a table named persons where the value of the column first name is Peter? Okay, so we select all the records, so that's a select star. So it can be this one or this one from persons where first name equals Peter. Is Peter would be equals Peter. So let's go ahead and keep going here. With SQL, how do you select all records from a table named persons where the value of the first column starts with an A? Okay, this is just wildcards. Starts with an A would be start A and then the wildcard. Select star from persons where first name is like A, and then wildcard, the percentage would be a wildcard, right? The important thing here is that it's not this one, because this one would be anything containing the letter A. With this one, it's whatever starts with A. If you're a SQL Server expert or a SQL expert and you're watching this, I know this is boring. It's okay. It's okay. You can either hang in there, or you can go into W3Schools yourself and go look for the harder ones and send me like where. Listen, if you can help me out and find where I can actually type queries out in W3Schools, that would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate it. But hey, if not, just hang in there. We'll get to the ones that let you code, I promise. Okay, the OR operator displays a record if any conditions are listed are true, and the AND operator displays a record if all the conditions listed are true. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true. It's just the only exception is when you mix OR and AND, then this would actually be false, because any OR basically throws away all the ands unless you have them wrapped in parentheses. So it's really important to know that. I don't know how I'm doing. It doesn't tell you how you're doing, which is very interesting. I'm gonna have to complete all 25 of these questions, and I have 9 minutes to do it. So I think it's speed run time. With SQL, how do you select all the records from a table named persons where the first name is Peter and the last name is Jackson? First name equals Peter, last name equals Jackson. I wanna say and. Yep. Let's do that next. With SQL, how do you select all the records from a table named persons where the last name is alphabetically between and including Hansen and Patterson? Wow. This is an interesting one. I haven't tried this in a while. Technically, you can say, okay, between and including would be between, because between natively includes this is greater than Hansen and this is less than Peterson, and if you're including, the only ones you can really use is the between. This is bananas. W3Schools. What's going on? And then it kicked me back to question 1. Okay, we're not going to take this quiz. Let's just assume that I did perfectly. That's all we can really assume, is that I did perfectly on that quiz. You have no choice but to assume that, because we never got our grade. All right, so let's see. Can we see anything else? SQL certificate. Get your certificate. Okay, cool. $95 US for the exam. This is not. This is. Let me just be very clear here. I would never say that a certificate is not worth it. Just at face value, especially after not really using the site much. W3Schools is a very known organization, right? Very well known, very relied on. I like it. I really do like it. You know, besides me being sort of a little bit sarcastic here or whatever it is, or a little bit sort of confused as to why the page doesn't load very well, or why it made me restart the quiz a bunch of times. The reality is, I'm not a huge fan of paying for certificates. Unless that certificate is paid for by your employer or by your school. If it's not you paying for your certificate, big fan of certificates. Go certificates, they're the best. But if you're paying for it out of your pocket, why do I say this? Because as a hiring manager for SQL, for data analysis, I don't look at certificates at all. Like, I don't look at them. For Power BI, for data, for reporting and BI stuff, depends, I guess. I'll look at to see like what the course was. If it's a course I trust, okay. But like, it seems like there's a lot of certificates, you know, going on. And I can think off the top of my head like one certificate or two on the Power BI side that are actually worth it. And I love you, Microsoft, right? Microsoft, you've given me a career for the last couple of years, for the last 15 years. So I love you, Microsoft, but they're not Microsoft certificates. The ones I'm thinking of are not Microsoft certificates. They're like Power BI Park, How to Power BI. Those certificates I think would be well worth it, just because they're fantastic courses. But Microsoft ones, again, if your company pays for them, if you attend a Microsoft webinar and they give you a super high discount code, sure. But out of pocket, full price, you know, not my style. Not my style. And as a student, there's so much free stuff, right? There's so much free material available, including mine, right? This is the small point of the show where I get to sort of pitch myself. Like, I have full tutorials on how to build reports, complete tutorials. So all that's free. There's a bunch of us on YouTube that have either Power BI or SQL content in English and Spanish, in so many different languages, right? So I would try there first. And if you need something like really structured, really perfect, even so, there's probably free classes, but go ahead. Hey, look, it looks like we get to use some SQL, right? Yeah, look, I can select stuff. I can say select customer ID, customer name. Now, what database platform is this running? That's what I want to know, right? I'm gonna run this SQL. There's that. So can I say if I say limit 10, does it run? No. So is this top 100, top 10? Are we in MySQL? I think we're in MySQL because we have top, but something about this doesn't. You know what we can do? We can try to throw an error like that. What happens when we throw an error? Does it say like MySQL engine check? Nope, it doesn't. It doesn't. What if we try to use like a SQL Server function like get date? So it's not SQL Server. I'm willing to bet is MySQL sysdate? Apparently, is it like this? I don't know MySQL syntax very well, if I'm honest. Okay, undefined function sysdate. I don't know what date there is. Let's see if I can just do like a star after these columns. Okay, yeah. So there's a lot of stuff here. Oh, yeah, it's because I put a comma here though. I'm just bad. I'm bad at SQL apparently. Okay, so I'm not really sure what database platform it is. I'm assuming that they give you like hints about what database platform it is, which is cool, but I think they're trying to remain as agnostic as possible as far as like what database platform it is, so you don't have to get caught up on it like I am. Let's see. Okay, here's categories. So if I have customers and orders, is there a customer ID on the order? Yeah, there is. So if I have like these orders, can I join this? If I say like give me the order ID, customer ID, and employee ID, and the order date, right? So if I select that from orders, now I should be able to join. So I'm gonna left join over to customers. You know how I'll figure it out? As C. I'll give it this a table alias of as O. And if I can do this, that means I'm probably on MySQL, because Oracle does not let you give as aliases to tables. So O dot customer ID equals C dot customer ID, I think is how this ran. Let's see. Oh, okay, so this is ambiguous. That's all this is saying. The errors are a little bit interesting here. I would say all of these columns are O columns. O. It's magic, you know. Run SQL. Okay, so this worked. And if I want a C dot name, what's the name column? Ugh. No value given for one or more required parameters. That's a little bit weird. Is it customer name? Is it first name? Is it last name? Okay, there we go. Customer name. So I can pull stuff from the customer table. That's pretty cool. And we have 47 seconds left. Let's join to the employer ID table too, right? We're gonna do left join to employees as E on. So we're definitely not in Oracle, because Oracle doesn't let you do as E. On O dot employee ID equals E dot employee ID. And then what is it would be E dot employee name, hopefully. Let's see. Am I missing something? Left join on O, missing operator. O dot customer ID equals C dot customer ID. Oh, and there is our timer. We gotta bounce from W3Schools. Let me fix this really quick and then I can do it. Syntax error, missing operator in the query expression O dot customer ID equals C dot customer ID. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. Like, let's rewrite this join again. Or let's see if this one works again. And then we can try that again. This is a weird one. Does this run? Okay, this runs. And for the sake of it, I'm gonna copy this code and then I'm just gonna go to employees. There's employees. I have an employee ID and a first name and last name. Okay, I have employee ID and first name and last name. So if I go back to orders and then I paste my code, again, I'm gonna make sure this code runs, right? This code does run. And now I'm gonna go ahead and go left join. Employees as E on O dot employee ID equals E dot employee ID. Run. I think I'm gonna write this one down. I have to see what's going on here. I'm gonna write this one down because I don't think this one. I don't think this one's right. Maybe I have to do a little bit of investigation. I wrote it down in my handy dandy notebook just to see if I can get some clarity on what's going on with it. And maybe I can try to get your own SQL server at some point as well, just to see like what the free edition looks like. What I'd be looking at here. Free user. This is, I mean, I just started it just to see what it is. But I think this is like their new area. So maybe I should have started here instead. Because they probably, they have some like practice tests. If I search for tutorials and it's back end, right? I mean, it says get your own SQL server. I got started now. It's just a tiny bit. It's a tiny bit confusing. It's a tiny bit confusing as a new person, as a new like person trying to learn SQL. It's a tiny bit confusing. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to like bash on them. They're offering this for free, right? We have to acknowledge that. SQL editor, okay. Online SQL compiler, yeah. Oh, okay, it's the same one. Get your own SQL server. This is a good thing for you to explore. If you're curious about it, go ahead and explore it. I don't see anything, any issues here. Just be patient. Maybe watch some tutorials, something like that, just to see where you can land. Let me see if I just search for, it kind of takes you back to the original tutorials and stuff. It opens lots of tabs. So maybe if you see the other ones that I'm about to show, maybe you'll like them a little bit more than W3Schools. But W3Schools is really broad, right? It's not just for SQL. As you can see across the top there, JavaScript, SQL, Python, Java, PHP, how to, all that good stuff is here. So they're tackling a really broad space. I think it's pretty cool. And it's been one of the longest running ones, right? W3Schools, everyone knows about that one when they first start. So, all right. So I have my handy dandy timer. That was W3Schools. I have some feedback for sure. I'm not going to give them the feedback because this is really not about them. They're doing a fantastic job. Maybe they want that feedback, but I'm really not. That's not what the goal of this is. Now we just want to go ahead and see if we can move on to the next one, and the next one is going to be LeetCode. LeetCode is a popular one these days. I can't even remember where I heard of it. Probably I remember seeing another Twitch streamer being on LeetCode, and I've seen a couple people on LeetCode as well. LeetCode's fairly broad as well, right? They have many different languages, not just SQL, not just data analytics stuff. So let's dive right in. I think it's time to dive right in. Let's see what we can come up with. All right, I'm gonna set my timer to 25 minutes, and let's dive into LeetCode. So I already went ahead and signed in. You can create an account 100% for free, so feel free to go ahead and do that. I definitely recommend it just because it'll track your progress. It'll you can restart where you were. And then what I also did is I went to the problems section. So problem section, I'll put this up on my Twitch chat right here, and then I'll also put it up on YouTube chat right here. So if you're on Twitch or YouTube, you can definitely just take a look at those. It's just LeetCode.com/problem set, and then you can go straight to the database section.
We forgot to connect, Jimmy. You will not have the drink, sorry.
Hello. Thank you, Pedro, for the subscription. Really appreciate it. you will now have access to our subscribers only Discord. So thank you so much, Pedro, for the sub. Really appreciate your contribution. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. I know I don't have a set schedule, but I try to stream as much as I can just to share the knowledge I have with people. So thank you so much, Pedro. It means a lot. Hope you get your money's worth. I appreciate the Twitch Prime subscription. All right, so let's go ahead and get started on the database, right? We're going to take a look at some of the problems. As you can see, the problems are easy, medium, hard. I guess you can just browse here, and it looks like these are like specific problems, right? It's not a lot of tutorials, although I'm sure there's like if we explore this, there's like a study plan area. You can explore different things. Yeah, here's a bunch of chapters and stuff that you can do. These are like project-based stuff, which is really cool. I'm going straight to the problems just because I want to, again, tackle the practice SQL. Not necessarily the learn part, although the learn part I'm sure is really good. I want the practice SQL immediately kind of stuff. Where, again, I'm on the iPad, I'm on a train, I'm on a bus, I'm on a flight, and I just want to practice SQL. Yes, I do that. I know I could be watching like Parks and Rec for the 10th time, or The Princess Bride, which is my favorite movie. I could be watching The Princess Bride, but instead I practice SQL questions and practice data analysis stuff in Power BI and all that good stuff. All right, let's jump in. Combine two tables is one of our first questions, so we'll go ahead and pop in there. Let's click on that. It's an easy one, or it says it's an easy one. Man, maybe it is my internet. Maybe I wasn't being fair to SQL. No, maybe I wasn't being fair to W3Schools, I was thinking, but no, maybe not. Maybe it's just taking a little while today. Maybe I'm just streaming and that's why it's taking up most of my bandwidth. Okay, so here you can see on the left side of the screen, the problem is laid out for you. They give you some examples of what it's like. Here, very interesting to note, the first thing my mind goes to, or my eyes go to, is this MySQL right here. So when I click on MySQL, I get MySQL, I get MS SQL Server, I get Oracle, I even get Pandas, Python Pandas, and Postgres. That's pretty cool. If you're interviewing for a job, and you know that you've seen in the description that the job description that they use Postgres a lot, then you might want to just go straight to the Postgres stuff. And you already know SQL Server maybe, or you're already familiar with MySQL, you want to go straight to Postgres just to see if you have it, if you can pass an interview, a technical interview that they throw at you. That's really, really cool. I'm going to stick with SQL Server, but I'm also an Oracle DBA, or I was an Oracle DBA for a while, so I'm very familiar with the Oracle side. And you're going to have to wait until the YouTube video comes out, but one of the things I'm going to show is an Oracle product. And remember, this is all free tools I'm suggesting, and one of them is going to be an Oracle product. So you definitely want to check that video out when it does come out. All right, let's switch over to SQL Server. It says write your T-SQL query below, and the question is, it says person ID is the primary key for this table. This table contains information about the ID of some persons and their first and last names. Here's the address table. Write a solution to report the first name, last name, city, state of each person in the person table. If the address of the person ID is not present in the address table, report null instead, which is usually SQL Server will do that automatically anyway if they're not there. So all right, let's try it. Let's give it a shot. So write a solution to report the first name, last name, city, and state. So select first name, last name, city. No, first name and last name. Let's select that from person. That's not how you spell from. Person. And then what, can we run it? Where's the run? Run. Okay. So this gives us person. Yeah, I know it's the wrong answer. I'm not trying to submit it. I'm trying to run it just to see what's going on. I wish just for clarity, like in the real world, we just run our queries, right? We build them slowly and make sure they work. We don't just like try to push our first edition to production. So I'm kind of surprised here that it immediately gave me a wrong answer. Just a little bit weird and a little bit oh yeah, it's just a little bit surprising to see something like that. Like I would wish that they just say like debug, right, or something like that. Yeah, MS SQL doesn't support debugger. It does. It's just I won't recommend it because it stops your SQL server. But yeah, okay, that's just weird, right? That's just weird in my opinion. But we got our first name and last name, which is right here. That's good. And then it's also asking for the city and state. Okay, so let's left join over to address as A, and then person is going to be as P, and we're going to have an on clause of P dot person ID equals A dot person ID. And then since we have those now, I'm going to alias the P columns with P dot, and then let's add in our city and state, right? A dot city, A dot state. Now, I'm going to run it again. I'm not expecting a correct answer here, at least not yet, even though it's accepted and correct. I don't know why. I shouldn't be as bothered as I am with the whole wrong answer thing, but I don't think it should present you with a wrong answer when you're just trying to debug and prepare your query. It's not like you have a limited number of queries that you can run on SQL Server or Oracle or whatever. They're database platforms. They're meant to retrieve data. So it's a bit strange. Okay. It also said if the address of a person ID is not present in the address table, report null instead. Return the result table in any order. Okay, so you'll notice here that I used a left join. That's because if I used an inner join and there was no address for a person present, it would not bring back that person. So it wouldn't bring back people who have no addresses. In fact, I can probably see those people that it wouldn't bring back if I say where a dot address ID is null, or even a dot person ID is null. If I selected this, I would probably get an output, and I know it's going to say wrong, whatever. This person right here, Alan Wang and Bob Alice, no, just Alan Wang. Alan Wang has no address, and if you use an inner join or just a join, you would not get Alan Wang's record. So just keep that in mind whenever you're doing joins. Don't just put join, be intent with your joins. Left join, inner join, full join. I've never used right join in my entire career. I've used it for like a test, but in my professional capacity, I've never used right join. So right join is just like, hey, just flip them around and do left join, or just use exist. Anyway, here's our accepted solution. We're gonna go ahead and submit it and see what happens. I think when you submit it, it like ranks it among people, like how fast you got it, how fast the query runs. And of course, there's gonna be ways that you can probably optimize this query to be a little bit better. Maybe like typecasting. So if you cast it as a different data type, if there are different data types, you might be able to do that. But for now, I think, you know, I'm okay being here among the top here. Okay, so I guess you can write your notes. That's cool. You can give it a tag as well. But how do I move on to the next question? Next question. There we go, up at the top. Second highest salary. This is a medium question, so let's spend some time in this one. Second highest salary. Okay, cool. It shows me the employees table. Each row of this table contains information about the salary range of employees, so ID and salary. Cool. Write a solution to find the second highest distinct salary from the employees table. If there is no second highest salary, return null. Okay, so here's the employee table, 1, 2, and 3. So technically I'd want 2, right? Second highest salary is 2. Okay. Okay, so they want it like just the salary. They don't even want the employee ID, it seems. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and select ID and salary from employee. I just want to see what the data looks like. This is, you know, I'll even throw a top 100 in here sometimes just because this is how I run queries on brand new tables that I'm not really used to. This whole wrong answer thing is a bit strange. I don't think it should say that until you submit it. But I can see where they're coming from. Anyway, this is what they expect, which is the 200. That's fair. So we have all of our records here. This is the second highest one. I mean, what I would say is a rank, right? So if I say rank over partition by, no, I think I could just say rank over order by salary, descending as ranking, as salary ranking. Does that work? Yeah, it does work. It does work. So this is our salary ranking, right? So if I say, let me remove this top 100 because there's only 3 records. So I'm gonna run this, and then I'm just gonna use it in the CTE and I know a lot of people are just like, oh, CTEs are not very efficient, and I don't disagree. I don't think they're not. I don't think they're perfectly efficient. For me, just to be able to write some sample dev queries, I think I'm okay with this. With CTE salary rankings as this, then I just want select, I guess I want to select salary from CTE salary rankings, where salary ranking equals 2. So just to show what I did here, here's the output that I'm working with right now and what I'm putting into the CTE, right? So here's the ID of the employee, here's the salary, and then my salary ranking was basically just saying, hey, rank the value of salary from highest to smallest using order by salary descending. So that's all it did, and it returned a ranking of salaries. Rank 1, the highest, is salary. Rank 2, the second highest, is 200. Rank 3 is the third highest, which is 100. So I'm just going to say salary ranking equals 2. Unknown network error. That's not planned. That's not planned at all. Oh, it says the reason, so the 200 is correct, but it's supposed to be called second highest salary. Where does that say? Doesn't say it anywhere, but it says it here in this output. So sure, I will do that for you as second highest salary. What? Okay. Salary ranking equals 2. What does... Am I going crazy here? Let me comment this out. Man, this is just supposed to be a medium question, isn't it? Second highest salary, 100, 200, 300. Where's salary ranking equals 2. Let's try that again. Am I missing something here? Let me know. Let me know if I'm missing something. I can't understand why my select top 1. If I get all of these here, let's select everything. Select ID, salary, and salary ranking from CT. Are they wiring this correctly? Is the behind the scenes working correctly? I feel like I need to spool up SQL Server. Second highest salary is 200, and they're expecting second highest salary 200, where salary ranking equals 2. where salary ranking equals 2. Am I going around finding bugs in places? Okay, yeah. So they want second highest salary. Okay, I'm almost there. I just have to remove the ID column and the salary ranking column. We all know that if I remove those and only display the second highest salary column, it should return exactly what they're looking for. Okay, I guess I'll keep this one in my notes. And what am I supposed to do with these? Like, submit them to them of like, hey, this doesn't work like it's supposed to? Because like this where clause, I mean, the only thing I can do is say as SR for this table, and then I can say like SR dot salary ranking. Yeah, something's wrong with this. Unfortunately, something's wrong with this because I mean, yeah, there's definitely something wrong with it. Anyway, we'll just go ahead and ignore that error. Apparently, that's an issue for them. What is their solution? Let's go ahead and see that. Submissions, editorial, subscribe to unlock. Okay, so it doesn't give me the solution. Yeah, no, I mean, a subquery would do it, yeah, but exactly what I'm doing also works in SQL Server. I can turn this into a subquery and be fine, but this is very strange that it wouldn't work. I mean, now I feel like I have to. Oh, we are in an ad break too. If you're still here, thanks for your subscription. Or very cool that Twitch didn't pick you for an ad. So if you're still here, thanks for subscribing. Really appreciate you. Usually we'll play like GeoGuessr during subscription rounds. So if you're here and you're watching and you want me to play GeoGuessr, I'm happy to do so. I'm happy to do so as well. It's been a while, but usually we'll do that on weekends, not today. Today I'm trying to power through this, but subscribers, you get to call the shots. You get to tell me what we want. I think I just have to say as values. Pedro, you're sub. Do you want me to play GeoGuessr, Pedro? I'm happy to do that. Okay, so apparently we can do this where salary ranking, where v.salary ranking equals 2. Is this what they wanted the whole time? Maybe. Yeah, they might. Let's see. Salary ranking. Oh no, it's second highest salary. Salary as second highest salary. Let's see. It's still null. Something is going on here, which is a bit weird. So I'll sort of just leave that one away. If you want to correct me, I'm happy. If anyone out there knows what's actually going on and realizes that I'm very dumb, feel free to let me know. I feel like both ways that I've been doing it would be the correct ones, but hey, I'm only human. All right, so let's just move on to the next question. Hey, thanks very much for the follow, G-Bone 1. Hope you're having a fantastic Friday so far. Hopefully you have very fun plans for the weekend as well. I'm here, and I'm not usually here, as I'm sure you have guessed already. I usually don't stream on Friday nights, but I might make it a thing. I don't know. Usually I like to like hang out, watch TV, watch Parks and Rec with my daughter or something, or maybe go to Disney. I live very close to Disney World, so we'll go to Disney for like dinner or something. But today they're hanging out on their own with some friends, and so I thought I would stream and try to see if I can answer some questions here on a couple different sites like LeetCode and not HackerRank, DataLemur and W3Schools for a project I'm working on. So great to have you here. Thanks very much for the follow. Hope you are doing well. All right, so this is asking us what ID is the primary key of the table, blah blah. This is the same employee table, employee ID and salary. That's cool. Write a solution to find the nth highest distinct salary from the employee table. Okay, well this is building on the other one that apparently I got wrong anyway. But basically what I would do is, yeah, create a function here like this. At n, I would never name my parameters like this. I would name it like whatever I'm trying to get, like at n. I think is a very, I wouldn't say irresponsible name for a parameter for a function or a stored procedure, but I would definitely name it like what I want, right? If I'm writing a function that says, hey, I'm gonna give you your age if you give me your birthday, then I'm gonna say my variable or my parameter, my input parameter is going to be p birthday or p date of birth, and then I'm going to return the value for you. So very interesting that they chose to name that, but hey, no problem. Okay, let's do this again, I guess. Are we doing the same thing again? Select the interesting thing is, like, they don't even let you practice anything. They just like expect you to submit, and I'm not a fan of that. So I'm gonna comment everything out, or I could just do this the responsible way and not comment it out this way, but instead comment it out this way, and then just write my, oh yeah, this right here, and then just write the select statement down here. So select star from employee, select star from employee. And again, this isn't submitting, this is just, I want to see what's in the table, which is very strange that they choose to just give you. I'm sorry, what is this runtime error? Cannot find either column DBO or, I'm not running anything. I'm just running select star from employee. Okay, super. Look, this is supposed to be basic stuff and I get it, but at the same time, it's like, this is not realistic for a SQL server. I get it, they're just wrapping things around a real SQL server, right? Making this accessible to anyone. So I completely get that. It's just a bit weird. Like, this doesn't represent what a regular environment is. I'm never gonna get this error in a regular environment at work. And if I'm testing you, if I'm interviewing you for a technical interview, I don't want you to have to like submit your function. Like, I want to see you build your function. I don't want to see the final product. I want to see your thought process. I want to see what's going on. That's what I'm trying to show here in these videos, is showing you the thought process that I go to. Hey, if you want to build a function, if you want to build a stored procedure, you don't start with create function. You don't start with create stored procedure. You start with an anonymous block, right? What's known as an anonymous block in like many platforms like Oracle. You build it out, and then when you're done, when you know it works, that's when you create a procedure out of it. I do not want to see you creating procedures or functions with nothing practiced. Let's take a look at a couple other problems. My timer's out, which means we've been spending 25 minutes in LeetCode already. So let's just take a look at a couple other questions here. Consecutive numbers. Okay, consecutive numbers would probably be what, like row number? Find all the numbers that appear at least 3 times consecutively. Oh, this would be using wow, lag. Yeah, so let's see if I can just build this out really quickly. Select star from logs, and then I order by ID. And again, not trying to submit my question. I don't know why it tells me it's wrong. If I select ID and num from this, at least I'm getting closer here. I can replace my star. Okay, so here I would say lag of num. I think I have to say over something. I don't think it lets me do lag on its own. Yeah. Yeah. There it is. Lag must have over. Yeah. So over order by ID ascending. You don't have to put ascending here, but I try to be as explicit as possible as last num. Or you could say like name it like lag num. So basically it's going to return, if it returns correctly. At this point I'm not even sure if it's ever, yeah. So, oh, this is my output. Okay, good. So here you can see that this last num returns the last value. So I can say, okay, num is my current value, but my last value with num as well. So I can just keep incrementing this value as I go, and then the first time I see something hit 3 times, that's when I can return it. So I think it's expecting 1 as my value consecutively. That's the interesting part. Like if I just wanted to see like which numbers represented 3 or more times, then I could just group by the num and say however many records have that same one, but it's saying consecutively. And that's the important part, because you see 2 here. 2 is also here 3 times, but it's not consecutive, so it's looking for 1. Okay, cool. I can also say lead. So to solve this question finally, I can also add a lead column. So I can say lag, and then I can also say lead num, and lead is just asking for the next value. So what would I do here? I would say first I need to organize my query a little bit. It's like I was raised in a barn. Okay, so here's my output right now. It's the 2 core values, ID and num, and then my last num and my next num. How would I resolve this? Well, I would say if my last num is equal to 1 and my next num is equal to 1, then this value is the one that's consecutive 3 times, right? If my current value equals 1, the last one is also 1, and the next one is also 1, that has to be, myself plus the one that came before me and the one that comes after me are all the same number. That's the first one. So that's how this question would be answered. I'm afraid to like put this in here as like a CTE because it's blocked my CTEs the whole time. So it's like at this point I'm just like, let's see, select star. I'm just gonna do it just to do it, but like I know it's probably gonna give me some dumb like you know what, I shouldn't be so pessimistic. It's probably gonna be perfect as V, and then I would say where. No, let's just see what it gives me. Does it give me anything? Does it give me anything? Okay, it gives me all of them, which is good. But then I want to say where v.num equals v.lastNum. And then I also have to say and v.num equals v.nextNum. So and v.num equals v.nextNum. And now I should only have one row. So I have one row, and then I say instead of select star, I just select num. Is it actually going to accept my answer this time? And say like, hey, you did it right. Is it correct now? No. Oh, consecutive nums. As consecutive. It'd be hilarious if I just ended up spelling it wrong in the other one, and that's it. but this time I guess accepted. Okay, super. I would do this again with a CTE, but obviously this is where a lot of people will tell you that this is actually the more efficient way to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and submit. And you're joking. This is accepted, but then this is wrong. The first, did I do something? I must have done something wrong. Maybe I didn't read correctly. Find all numbers that appear 3 times all numbers that appear 3 times consecutively. Ugh. It's just one. Yeah, and that's literally what you know what? My frustration is growing with this tool, and so I'm not I'm just gonna move on. So let's take just a quick look around the site, make sure I didn't miss anything. We're gonna go back. It looks like there's some cool tutorials. There's some good paid stuff too. There's a premium section. You can learn about arrays. You can learn about interview cheat sheets here. You can just learn LeetCode. You can learn about SQL. That's pretty cool too. Let's see what that looks like. I guess it's videos. Okay. It's just lessons. Yeah, just lessons. Maybe some interactive ones. Okay. Some cool edit on DB Fiddle. I guess it uses DB Fiddle for some of its engines. Information schema. Okay, that's cool too. That it does that. Now, what's going on here? Why is there a lock? Is it locked because I haven't finished this? Or is it locked because it's a premium product? No, there's no way. I mean, they gotta make their money. They've got to make their money. But man, these are basics. SQL relationships, SQL syntax. They got to make their money, so I get it. I would say, yeah, it's a premium product. Listen, more power to you. They seem to have a good audience. That's cool. I want free. Or at least free where like really premium stuff is premium. SQL syntax I don't think is a premium product. And so, I get it. They gotta make their money. They gotta make their money. I'm not even gonna look at how much it is because I'm really not interested in knowing. I don't. If you need something structured and you need something, if your mindset is I need to pay for this product so that I feel obligated to do it, by all means, it's not for me. All right, so third bit. Let's just do a quick recap here actually first. All right, so we have gone through W3Schools, we've gone through LeetCode, and so far I think the environments are okay. They're nice to look at. Again, it's free, or to a certain degree it's all free. So there's not a lot of complaining. If you're looking to learn, I would probably go with W3Schools, not LeetCode, because LeetCode is going to start charging you after the first basic lesson. Maybe they have some more free stuff, which I didn't see, and that's super cool. If you find some stuff, let me know. Feel free to send me a chat, hang out on my Discord. Hey, I have a Discord channel. It's right there. Nope. This way, right there in the chat down there. That's where you find my Discord channel. Feel free to let me know what free tools you like instead, or did you find a free section of LeetCode that I missed? Happy to check it out. If you have any other questions, like database related questions, check out PoleGap. My PoleGap page is open, and you can feel free to post any questions there, and I will happily answer them on stream as well. There's a quick reset of my camera, and we are good to go. Okay, so checked out W3Schools. We checked out LeetCode. I have been streaming for an hour and a half, and I had planned to do about 50 minutes. So here we are. let's go through DataLemur. Now, DataLemur, I think, is probably one of the newest ones. And again, I think the owner of DataLemur, he seems to be really active in the SQL subreddit. I think his name is Nick Singh. He posts a lot on Reddit. He posts a lot, I think, on LinkedIn. Just either not necessarily just promoting him stuff. Obviously, you gotta put food on the table, right? You gotta promote your product. I think it's a nice product. But he also just answers questions. He provides insights. He's very curious. I think that's pretty cool too. So let's check out the site. And again, just for clarity here, I have no association with any of these. Zero association. I'm not an affiliate. I'm not. I don't even pay for their product myself. I just want to share these free tools with you and help you decide which one you want to do. I want to do it. Tell you from the point of view of an expert who does interviews as well, who interviews people. So let's hop into LeetCode. And now LeetCode is just going to be a standard LeetCode.com. Or sorry, DataLemur. I hope I said everything I said about DataLemur, because that's what we're talking about now. Nick Singh is the owner of DataLemur. He does a lot of community blog posts. He does a lot of knowledge sharing, that sort of stuff. So I apologize if I said LeetCode the whole time. It is not LeetCode. It is DataLemur that we are taking a look at now. So I'm going to set my timer for 25 minutes again. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what we can see here is just ace the data science interview, or ace the SQL and data science interview. There's practice SQL questions. This is a fairly simple quote unquote site, but the reality is I think it's pretty robust. So there's a learn SQL section. Start now, right? There's a tutorial. I don't see any premium stuff yet. What's in premium? Per month, one-on-one coaching, a signed book, lifetime access. That's cool. 1 hour video call. That's pretty cool. Mock interview. He offers a mock interview. I think that's really nice. Get your resume and LinkedIn reviewed. I think that's a pretty cool thing to do. And then here we have a yearly package. We have a $15 monthly package as well. 100 interview questions, 70 data science interview questions. A couple of years ago, I had a decision to make of whether I wanted to become a data scientist or just stop and sort of share my knowledge, open this channel, just start sharing with the community more. And I chose to go that route instead. I appreciate data scientists a lot. I think they're fantastic. I just don't know. I know like 2%, literally 2% what's on the screen of what they know. I like statistics, right? I just don't. I want to be clear here. Data science is a whole other level. And what I do in my capacity as a data architect, as a data engineer, as a database administrator, as a data analyst, BI analyst, I consider myself to be someone who gives data to data scientists so that they can do their job. That's what my job is. If I've worked with data scientists in the past, and my job I've always considered is to give them good data so that they can do their job correctly. But I know very little about what they actually do. So if you're wanting to actually get into data science, this would be a good place, I think, to learn. Whereas the other sites that we've visited so far, they have barely anything on data science. Maybe W3Schools does, but not as well integrated, I think, as this. So here's some statistics stuff, machine learning, probability, Python. So we're just going to focus on SQL, right? So we're just going to click on histogram of tweets, which is our first one. Wait for it to load. Yeah, it's definitely my machine. So LeetCode and W3Schools, you were okay. This is all my machine that's a little slow. Okay, so I like the style here. It's very clean. Be cool if there's like a dark mode. Maybe there is in like premium or something. All right, so the question says, this is the same question as problem 6 in the chapter of Ace the Data Science interview. Okay, cool. Assume you've been given a table Twitter tweet data. Write a query to obtain a histogram of tweets posted per user in 2022. Okay, Output the tweet count per user as the bucket and the number of Twitter users who all fall into that bucket. Okay. In other words, group the users by the number of tweets they posted in 2022 and count the number of users in each group. Okay, so there's a tweets table, there's a tweets example output, and tweet bucket and users num. Okay, this is the example output that they're looking for in the question. And it says, based on the example output, there are 2 users who posted only 1 tweet in 2022 and 1 user who posted tweets in 2022. So, who posted 2 tweets in 2022. The query groups the user by the number of tweets. Okay, dataset you're querying against may have different input and output. This is just an example. Okay, and it even has hints here. That's pretty cool. Can I switch over to SQL Server? No. Okay, so this is just Postgres. And it says that MySQL is coming soon, so that's pretty cool. But I have to become familiar now with Postgres syntax, which I do not know. I'll be the first to admit it. I spent 15 years in data. I do not know a lot of Postgres syntax. Limit, extract, I think, are some of the basics that if extract is even Postgres. But I sort of just wander my way around Postgres. We're going, oh man, an ad break is coming up. How should I manage that? I'm gonna go ahead and snooze it, finish this one, and then we'll go to an ad break after it. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and run through this question. Select star from tweets. I'm just gonna run the code, and look at that. They didn't tell me that my answer is wrong. I like that. I like that I could just browse the data. So it looks like we have a couple tweets here. The date is 2022. So how do I do? Okay, so I'm gonna say tweet ID. Oh, look at that. Even IntelliSense, it looks like. Tweet ID, user ID, MS. I don't really need the MSG or the message. I need the tweet date though. Okay, let's see what that looks like. What I like to do is sort of like find the data that I'm going to be using, because I'm going to count the number of users, the number of unique users. I think, I don't know if it's the number of users or unique users, but I would say it's unique users. So I actually don't even need the tweet ID, because all I'm really counting, it's good to see everything, but all I'm really counting is the number of users that tweeted in 22, right? And how many tweets each user had. Oh no, it's actually the number of tweets as well. This is a nice question. I like it. Tweet ID. Let's do tweet ID. Let's bring that back in. So basically, the only thing I need tweet date for is really for a where clause. So I'm going to say where tweet date between, and there's my IntelliSense. Can I do 01/01/2022 and 12/31/2022? Can I do that? Let's see. Because I have one here in 2021, so I really just want 4 records now. Yeah, looks like that worked. Okay, great. So because this worked, what I want to do now is go, okay, for each user, how many tweets did they have between this? I don't need my tweet date anymore. I just want to know for each user, how many tweets did they have? So I'll say user ID, and then here I'll say count distinct tweet ID as unique tweets. Why? Because, oh yeah, it's just gonna tell me the group by needs to be here. So group by, that's not how you spell group. Group by the user ID. So for each user ID, how many tweets did they have? So you can see right here, this one. So there's 2 users that had 1 tweet, and then there's 1 user that had 2 tweets. Super. Okay, so how would I do this? I would go ahead and build a CTE around this with CTE user analysis. And why don't I just like jump in and group by the user ID here and everything? It's because I like to analyze as granular as I can, build a granular analysis first, and then do an overview analysis. Why? Because usually I'll present an overview analysis, and people will ask me, okay, fantastic, but what's the detail? Like, how do I see the detail around this? And this is how I see the detail. I already have the query ready. So I'm going to go ahead and say, I think, pretty sure Postgres supports CTEs. By God, if it doesn't, we're in trouble. As a society, we're in trouble. CTE user analysis, run code. Okay, so it does support it. That's good. Now from this, I can say, okay, select unique tweets, and then count of distinct user ID as users num. That's what it asks for. And then group by the unique tweets. Group by unique tweets. Run code. And now I have, they call it a tweet bucket. So I'll say unique tweets as tweet bucket. And then users num. So let's see, run this code. And now I have the same exact output. Tweet bucket is 1 and 2, 2 and 1. I get to submit it. And there we go. Accepted. Congrats. Share this problem and your solution on LinkedIn and Twitter. That's pretty cool. It's like a friendly thing. In your post, don't forget to tag Nick Singh. It was Nick Singh, so that he can comment and share your post with an audience. That's pretty cool because it gives it sort of like a, a community kind of feel to it. So I do like that. That's pretty cool. Okay, so that was an easy question. What we're going to do is I'm going to pause the timer. We're at 15 minutes. So I'm going to pause the timer because I need to take an ad break. So let's go ahead and take a quick ad break. I'm going to play GeoGuessr. So if you are subscribed to the channel or Twitch doesn't pick you, then you will get to see me be terrible at GeoGuessr. Absolutely horrible. And then we'll come back and we'll spend another 15 minutes working through some DataLemur stuff. We'll do a collective thought and then we will be out of here. So let's go to an ad. Again, if you don't get picked or if you're subscribed to the channel, thank you. And I will see you in about 3 minutes. All right. So again, thank you very much. If you are subscribed here to the channel, really appreciate your support. And hopefully you enjoy the content. If you didn't get picked, welcome to like a sneaky version of being a subscriber, because Twitch didn't pick you this time. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and do restaurants. I always try to cheat to see if there's like a sign outside that I can reference. I don't know what language this is. Is this Thai? Is this Thai? What side are they driving on? This is on the right side. Is this Thailand? This almost seems like it's Thailand. Indonesia? I don't know if they drive on the right side of the car in Sri Lanka? I don't know what Sri means, but it's either Thailand, Indonesia, or Sri Lanka. I'm gonna go with. I want to go with Thailand. I'm kind of spice something beach street. There's no license plates, or there are license plates, but they're obviously blurred out. There's lots of cars. I'm gonna go with Thailand, but maybe it's Malaysia. No, it's Indonesia. No, Malaysia. Because, I told you I was terrible at this. Beaches. Let's go to beaches. That is a beach. I win. No stopping. Are we in Australia? What side of those? Okay, we're on the right side. This is Bondi Beach, right? Bondi Beach? North Bondi? But isn't Bondi Beach in Australia? Where in Australia? What state of the massive Bondi Junction? Bondi Junction, Bondi Beach. Oh man. Oh man, North Bondi RSL. Can we actually find something today? Are we not gonna look dumb? Public toilets. That sounds about right. Bondi Beach parking. Promenade Beach. Can we find RSL? What is RSL? Bondi Beach Club. Watch it be like completely different, and it's just like a Bondi restaurant, and has nothing to do with actual Bondi Beach. But that's an Australian flag. It's gotta be. It's gotta be. Oh, welcome back from ads, folks who are in ads. We're just wrapping up a terrible session of GeoGuessr. I'm gonna say this is Bondi Beach. I don't know where. I was trying to find this North Bondi RSL, but I don't know what an RSL is. It's definitely not a children's pool. I want to say it's like here, but man, I mean, the reality is just getting anything in the same country would be fantastic. Look at that, 914 meters. Oh man, we were here at some point, but we didn't. Is the RSL here? There's the RSL. Classic North Bondi RSL. Okay, I think we're done. Let's head on back to DataLemur, because I am excited about continuing our journey there. So I'm going to set the timer again for 15 minutes because that's how much we left off with. Welcome back, folks, from ads. What happens when I submit this, though? So, like, I already submitted it. I got it accepted. Nick says to share it with the community. That's a pretty cool thing. But how do I move on? And do I just say check? Nope, that starts a timer. Let's look at the question, a solution. Okay, it even gives me a solution. It looks like they did it a little bit simpler. Oh no, it walks through how to set it up. See, this is the stuff that I look for in my interviews. This is the type of stuff that I look for in my interviews. Is you start with something, just like we did here, right? You start with something, you build it out, and then you evolve it. It evolves like Pokemon. It's probably the worst reference for like the way to build a query is, but it evolves. It's an evolving thing. When I'm interviewing you, I want to see how you think. I don't want you to spit out the answer and then say next. I need to understand your thought process and what you did to get to there. Alternatively, we can use a common table expression. That's what I did. He did a subquery at first. Yep, here's the subquery, which you could definitely do that for sure. If the CTE wouldn't have worked on the Postgres side, I would have definitely switched to a Postgres like we did with the LeetCode one. So that was cool. All right, I guess I just go here. This is data science skills. Okay, cool. Let's just answer another one. I really like sort of the vibe I'm getting. This is like something I could tackle on an iPad and just low pressure. It's not showing me against other people. If that's your thing, then maybe LeetCode is a better place for that. Like showing you against other people, showing the optimization, because there's benefits to that. Like you want to see how you rank against others. This right here, I think this is chill vibes I'm getting from this. Is that a cool thing to say? The more uncool things I say, the more I can embarrass my nephews, the happier I am. My nephews, I love them very much. They are like, I think they're 22 and 19, or 22 and 20, maybe 21 and 19. And I'm a huge fan of embarrassing them as much as possible by saying things that were out of popularity for at least 5 to 10 years now. All right, so there are no duplicates in the candidates table. Given the table of candidates and their skills, you are tasked. Can I read? You're tasked with finding the candidates best suited for an open data science job. You want to find candidates who are proficient in Python, Tableau, and Postgres. Write a query to list candidates who possess all of the required skills for the job. Sort the output by candidate ID in ascending order. So here's the candidates and the skill ID. No, the candidate ID and the skill. And then we have a candidates. Okay, so this is the output. Okay, so candidate 123 has Python, candidate 123 has Tableau, and candidate 123 has Postgres. Okay, cool. So candidate 123 is probably the one that we want, but I think they just said this is an example, right? So just it might not be this way. So let's go ahead and just run select star from candidates and see what we get. It looks like candidate 123, 123, 234 also has 3 skills, but the skills they were looking for are Python, Tableau, and Postgres. Python, Tableau, and Postgres, not R. So R does not count. Neither does SQL Server, which makes me cry. But neither does SQL Server, so that's really important. Candidate 123 is displayed because they have type Python, Tableau, and Postgres. 345 isn't included in the output because they're missing one of the required skills, which is Postgres. So 345, which is this one, they're missing Postgres. PPS, if you find this problem too tricky, even after the hints, check out my 30-day SQL learning roadmap. It's cool because they nudge you over that. That's cool. Features my favorite free resources. Free is always good, so check that out. Let's check it out in the new window. That's pretty cool. Week 1, SQL Boat. Week 2, DataLemur. 3 SQL games. That's pretty cool too. 4 SQL games. That's cool. Let's focus on the question, but I like that. That's cool. After you straighten your SQL functions, I'm sure you'll be more than ready to tackle this question. Okay, cool. Well, let's try to tackle it right now. Basically, the first thing I want to do is just limit the candidates to be the skills that they ask: Python, Tableau, and PostgreSQL. And I'm not even going to waste any time here. I'm just going to copy them. Then I'm going to surround them with single quotes. And you guessed it, I'm going to use an in, where skill is in one of these 3. And this is basically just skill is Python or Tableau or Postgres. It doesn't mean it has to have all 3. It's just one of the 3. Oh, and probably this is not like Chicago commas here or English. It's just SQL. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. Candidate 1, 2, 3 has them all. So what I am thinking right now is, okay, once I've established that I'm limiting the whole query just to the 3 skills that I need, now I'm just going to say, for each candidate that is returned, how many skills do they have? If it's 3, then they win. If it's not 3, or if it's at least 3, then they win, right? So now I'm going to say, now that I have that star, right, I'm just going to say skill and candidate ID, just because I like to name my columns and just make sure they work. So now I would transform this to a candidate ID and then count distinct skill as what's the output that he needs? Oh, just a candidate ID. So I would say unique skills is how I like to name my stuff. And then I say candidate ID here, group by the candidate ID, then run the code. And now I have for candidate ID 1, 2, 3, I have 3. And then for 3, 4, 5, I have 2. So just like Nick says in the description here, right? So now I'm going to say I only want candidates who have 3 plus. Because if they have 4, I still want to return them because they have at least those 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a having clause. A having clause. Having. And the having clause, I like to say, is like a where clause for your group by. So it is based, you can put these counts here in the having. Why? Because I can't just put where and count is greater than 3 or greater than or equal to 3. I can't do this. This doesn't work. Aggregate functions are not allowed in the where, but they are allowed. You heard it here first, or actually like 100,052nd having. The having can go here. And so now I get to see anyone who has at least 3 skills. There it is, the candidate ID. Now I can just remove this guy because I really don't need it. All the question wants is the candidate ID. Then I run the code. And now you can see we have it right here. And it was accepted. So very cool. It says solved. I can copy to the clipboard. And then if I go to the question, I just want to see what is in the hints, because I think those are really, really important. Is what hints do you give? Because he's already giving quite a few hints here. Not anything that's like gives it away, but I do like the whole like, by the way, you know, the explanations that we have. So what do we have here? First, we'll filter out any rows. Okay, so yep. So this is the steps that we took. I like to include my columns, not just the candidate ID, but I get it. I get what he was on about here. Query above will show all the candidates. Next we have a having, right? We have a having here. That's cool. And another hint. Hint number 2. Did you put everything in order? Let's find out. There we go. Here's our having skill. Okay, so this is a little bit different from what I would have done, right? Because this says having count skill, not having count distinct skill. I would have used, well, I did use a distinct just because I want, just in case there's like a double entry for Python for some reason because of bad data. I want to make sure that I rule that out and say, even if they put Python in there twice, I'm not going to count it as a third skill. That's important to me. The rest of, I think we got it pretty much in here. And then I would have also considered anyone who has more than 3 skills, because it doesn't have to be exactly 3, right? If I say I want to, I don't know, visit people's houses that have 3 cars. If someone has 8 cars, I definitely want to still visit their house. I'm still visiting their house. I'm very interested. It doesn't have to be exactly 3 cars, just like it doesn't have to be, in my opinion, exactly 3 skills. Let's see what another hint does. Here's a group by and an order by. Okay. Sort the output by candidate ID in descending order. Even I missed that. Where does it ask that? Sort the output of by candidate ID, and that's, he totally does. Order by candidate ID. Look at that. Even I missed it. Descending. I wish it would have been a little bit more like, hey, you missed this part when I submitted it. I think that would have been useful to show, but there was only one, so I guess that's why it wasn't like that. I would have liked to see like more possibilities for people, right? Not just one candidate, but maybe like 5 candidates. Just a more robust data set, but it's still cool. All right, and then I think we have time for one more question. Let's just go back to all questions and see if we can find like a medium SQL. Sending versus opening snaps. Oh, this is like Snapchat. Limit 5. Okay, so we're using Postgres for sure. Well, I mean, it says it right here, but okay, this is the same question as problem 25 in the SQL chapter. I like how he references the book just in case, or the data science interview material. Assume you're given tables with the information on Snap users, including their ages and time spent sending and opening snaps. Write a query to obtain a breakdown of a time spent sending versus opening snaps as a percentage of total time on these activities grouped by age group. Holy moly. Okay. Round the nearest percentage to 2 decimal places in the output. Okay. Okay. Calculate the following percentages. Time spent sending equals the time spent sending over the total time, which is spending versus sending plus opening. Okay, I see what that is. And time spent opening. To avoid integer division in percentages, multiply 100 by 100.0. That's fair. Okay, let's try to do it. Man, 2 minutes. I mean, I did say speed run, right? I did say speed run. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna go silent a little bit. I'll probably still talk because I want to talk through what I do. I like doing that. Okay, we have activity ID, we have user ID, we have activity type, time spent, and activity date. Okay, so we're gonna run that. Just make sure it works. Here's limit of 5, but I don't think I want limit of 5. I'm gonna go all out here. I'm gonna grab everything. There's more. Super. Okay, so what am I gonna do now? Now I'm going to say a breakdown of the time spent sending versus opening. Okay, so we have send and open. We have a send and open, and then we want example output, send percentage, and open percentage. Okay, so for all the sends, I want to get the total time spent. For all the sends, I want to get the total time spent. I think that's what I want to try first. For all the sends and opens. Oh, and there's a chat too. So I'm going to say, first thing I'm going to do is actually limit it to say where activity type in send and open only. That's my first thing I'm going to do. I don't care about chats unless it's supposed to be total. No. Here's the percentages. It's sending plus opening. Okay, super. Okay, so for each user, how about that? For each user, because a user will belong to an age, right? Yeah. So for each user, I want to know their time spent sending versus the time spent opening, right? So we're going to immediately, I don't care about the number of activities too. It says nothing about the number of activities. So number of activities is just whatever at this point for me. For each user, I want to know spending. I want to know time spent opening versus sending. My timer's out, but I'm invested in this one. So let's just keep going. I also don't care about the date, right? Because this doesn't say anything about like the date has to be between X time and X time. Yeah. So I'm going to rule out the date as well. Now I'm going to run the code. And here we have for each user, we have their open and sends. I'm going to order by the user ID just because I want to group them all together. Now we can see user 123 has send, open, and then they have the time spent. And then we have 456 has send, open. But all I care is by activity type, by send or open, right? So what am I going to do? I think what I kind of want to do is put the user ID and the sends and the opens in different columns, like the time spent sending, the time spent opening in separate columns. So how would I do that? Well, what I would do is I would actually say a case on the activity type and say case when activity type equals send, then time spent, else null end as send time. And I'll do that again, case when activity type equals open. And again, I like to build a history here so that I can show the detail when people ask me, well, let me see what's going on here. Like, let me see the data behind this. Open time. And I think this will still run. Yeah. So here's the send time and open time. And as you can see, the time spent column is now distributed among the send and opens right here, depending on what activity type it is. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and remove this. And then I'm going to say, give me a sum of all of this. Sum of total time spent, opening and sending. And then I'm going to group by the user ID. Run the code. And now for each user, I have the send time and the open time. That's a good step. That's a good step. That's a good step. So now what I can actually do is say, okay, well, I'm going to put this in the CTE with CTE user summaries. Let's call this user summaries as, and then I open here, I close down here. I don't need that order by, so I'm going to leave it out. So then I'm going to say select user ID, send time and open time from the CTE user summaries. Run the code. And now I still have it all. Now, what I want to do is go, okay, send time percentage of the total time. So I just want to say, I just want to see what the total time is. The total time would be send time plus total time, I would say. Run that code. And then this is send time plus open time. Send time plus open time as total time. There we go. So now we have run code, and that's the total time. Super. So now, as you can see here, time spent sending divided by time spent opening. So what I get to do is I get to say, this is the last time I'm gonna see it this way, because I'm going to just write this below just so I don't mess anything up. But I'm gonna say select for each user ID. I can still say that the send time divided by the send time plus the open time, and then the open time divided by send time plus open time. Delete this, and now we can see like multiply by 100.0 is going to be an important one. Why? Because this right here, we have the total time, but then we have as what's the output that they're looking for? Send percentage, and as open percentage. There we go. So send percent, open percent, and as you can see right here, like they want it in percentage, right? So I'm gonna have to multiply this by 100. The whole thing I multiply it by 100, and so I'm gonna wrap this whole thing in parentheses, and wrap it here in parentheses as well, and then say times 100 and times 100. Now they did say, hey, make sure you multiply by 100.0 and not 100. I'll show you why that's important. Because, well, no, it kept it. Usually what SQL Server will do is, oh, you gave me an integer, now I'm turning everything into an integer. But just to follow their directions, I'm gonna go ahead and do that, just the .0. But yeah, usually it'll like convert everything over. So now we have this, and now I'm gonna wrap the whole thing in a round all of this to 2 decimal places, I think is what they requested. Yeah, 2 decimal places. So I'm gonna say round and comma 2. Now I should have my percentages in single digits. I'm gonna remove the total time because I don't need that. And we're not done. That's the crazy part about this, is that we're actually not done yet. What I need to do is go get the ages for these folks. So the age bucket that they're in, each one of these. So what I'll do now is I'll left join over to age breakdown, and here, like, part of me is actually wanting to make a second CTE. You don't have to do this. I'll do this for what I'll say quote unquote is cleanliness, but there's a lot of people who say that this is actually not clean at all. I'll say this is percent calcs as this. For me, I think for newer people, it makes it easier for them to read things like steps. These are steps that I'm taking, but at the same time, or like iterations, but at the same time, I understand that they may not be as efficient, and I don't want to teach the wrong thing. It's up to you. This is how I code in production. This is how I code in my, my sort of day job. A lot of people would argue if it's not too efficient. I haven't encountered any efficiency issues that can be solved by putting these through, but if you want to look into that, there's fantastic videos by Eric Darling on like basically why everything you know about CTEs is completely wrong, and I've watched them, and I'm guilty of a lot of the things he's explaining are incorrect. I will take it like a champ, and just continue to use them until I'm trying to wean myself off of them. I'm trying to not use them as much, but it's very difficult. It's very difficult not to, and it would mean I'm a bad coder or something, but I don't know. I'm still getting paid, and people are still happy with my code. I don't think it's a huge deal, but I do respect his opinion quite a lot. he's taught me it so much. So if you're looking for a video on that, check out Eric Darling's channel, Eric with a K, Eric Darling on YouTube. He has lots of cool videos on that and many other topics. I learned very many things from him. Okay, so I think we ran our code. Now we want to join. So left join over to age breakdown on, and then we'll name this one as PC. We'll name this one as AG or AB on PC.user_ID. And you'll see why I kept the user ID, right? It's our only link to the age breakdown table. So user ID equals AB.user_ID. And now I'm going to put for each user, I'm going to say what their age bucket is from the AB table, AB dot, and then this user ID needs to be PC because otherwise it'll be ambiguous. PC dot, and now I should be able to run the code and see their age bucket here. So you may ask yourself, oh, why did you do all your calculations first and then do the join? It's because I have had the experience of joins multiplying my data sometimes, and I want to make sure all my calculations that I needed to do were out of the way first. I don't want any multiplication or duplication of data. So now that I'm here, now I can actually just go remove the users from the bucket and then say for each age bucket, so I'm going to group by the age bucket. For each age bucket, what is the percentage? Send percentage and open percentage. Did I do that right? Let's see. Send percentage must appear in the group by. Oh, okay. We can do a sum of send percentage and a sum of, or I would say the min and max, not the sum. As, or maybe an average, as send percent and open percent. Example output 26 through 30 is 82.26 and 17.74. Ooh, meaning, well, why isn't this, why is 26 through 30 here and not 21 through 35? Did I miss something in the questions? No, I did not. To calculate the percentage of time spent sending snaps, we divided, yeah, which I did as well. Percentage of time opening snaps. The days that you're querying against may have different input and output. Okay. Maybe this is still wrong somehow because I have the sums. Maybe if I put the max, like if I leave the sums here and I change this to max, am I getting different values? If I run this code. No, it's the same. It's the same. So hopefully this will be right. Let's run it, make sure it's good, and submit. Congrats. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we got it. We did it. It even tells you here's the output that you got. Here's the expected ones. I thought there was an error for some weird reason, but I guess not. Oh, there was an error a couple days ago, I guess, for some weird reason. Bounder Soup says, hi, good evening, happy Friday. Question for you in a production ETL with staging. First of all, hi, Bounder Soup. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good start to your weekend already. Bounder Soup says, hi, good evening, happy Friday. Question for you in a production ETL with staging. Do you ever stage more than you need and just use the final select from the stage? We're done with this one, so I'm good to answer. Normally, I'd say that's a really good question for my PollGap site, which is right here, PollGap. I've had this account for a while, but if you ever have any questions like this, Bounder Soup, and I'm not on stream, feel free to push them over there, and I'll tackle them in my streams. But right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and answer it because I like the question. Okay. Do you ever stage more than you need and just use the final select from the stage? I've never used a final select statement from the stage as far as like using it in a report. Like I'll never have a report be from a staging table. However, let's say like I only need the last 2 days of data. Sometimes I will bring in the last 7 days of data and then only finally like put into my historical table or my final table the last 2 days. So if that's what you're asking about, yeah, I'll usually bring in more data than I need. I'll try to bring in as much data as I can that makes sense. If I'm looking at data in the last month, I'm not going to bring in, 3 years back of data, but I might bring like 2-3 months just to see what trends look like, stuff like that. If it's like a daily process, right, production ETL, then no, I actually want to bring in as little as possible for production ETL. So let's say I have a CRM that gets transactions on a daily basis, right? New customers, transactions, opportunities, all that good stuff. And I have a data warehouse. If I'm running a nightly job, a Boundary Soup says, okay, and that in columns too, like extra flag or debug columns. Yeah, that's a good question too. So if I'm bringing in like a nightly job from a CRM, if I run it once a day, I'm usually going to bring back at least 5 days, 3 to 5 days of data. And whatever's different, right? I sometimes use merges. I sometimes use upsearch with like exists or not exist. And so I'll bring in 5 days of data, even though I run it nightly. And then I'll only I set my code up so that it only sort of imports or updates the last one or 2 days, usually using like a modified date, last modified date or something like that. But I will make sure I give an extra buffer of a couple days. Why? Because if something fails on Friday night, on Saturday night, on Sunday night, Monday night will still recover, or Monday morning will still recover from that, right? I won't have to go in and switch Monday's run to be an extra 5 days or something like that, just because I missed 1 day or something. So I would definitely give yourself a buffer of at least 3 days if you can, because that means you don't have to rerun it on Monday morning with like a weird ad hoc one. So that's definitely important. I would also try to see, Boundary Soup, if you can set up like alerts on your tables that say, hey, I have not seen a new record or an updated record in more than X time, whether it's 1 hour or a new record in 1 day or a new record in 2 days, depending on the frequency of which you do your imports. I would definitely at least set up something, some trigger or alert, not a trigger, just an alert table or a view that allows even a Power BI report, right? A crystal report? Not a crystal report. A Power BI, let's go with a Power BI report, or even a SQL job that just says, hey, are there any tables that have records that are not new enough, right? That all the records are too old for something that runs on a nightly job. And if so, then you send yourself an email, or you just have it in an alert list and you can take a look, right? You can do this on a table by table basis. And then you also ask, Boundary Soup also says, oh, okay, and that in columns too, like an extra flag or a debug column. So I'll usually do something like a timestamp. So I'll get I'll slap a get date or a sys date on the source query. Usually it's an ETL view. And I'll say, hey, here's the timestamp of when I ran this ETL, when I snapshotted this data, even at the staging table data level. But other than that, maybe like a last modified flag, or like, is it different flag? My historical tables usually have 3 columns by default: an identifier, like a unique identity, a import date, and a last update date. Maybe sometimes like a last update by, but an import date shows me when the record first came in, and then the update date shows me the last time the record was updated. I like to have those 2 things separate. There's a lot of people who put them together. I like to know when the record first came in and when it was last updated. I think those are 2 very important things to look at together. And then I also use those columns to monitor my ETL. So I'll have a timestamp at the beginning of my ETL process for that table, and I'll say, here's the time. And then at the end of my process, I'll say, okay, from the how many records were updated after that initial timestamp? How many records were inserted after that initial timestamp. And that allows me for every single run of my ETL, it allows me to show how many records were updated and how many records were inserted. And I know you can do that with like row count, but I feel that this way is a lot cleaner, and then I log that information to a table whenever I can. So hopefully that answers your question. I love ETL and building robust processes around ETL, and not only on the SQL Server level, but also at SSIS and several other tools that I've had the pleasure of working with. There's a lot of shift into Python now, right, for a lot of ETL, and I love that. I'm trying to learn it myself, but I feel that because Python makes things so easy, sometimes we forget that we need debugging columns, tracking columns, and we're just so focused on pushing the table in that we do have Python do all the work, and it's cool, but I feel like a lot gets lost in the translation. So when I do get into Python a lot more, and I've done this with PowerShell already, but I try to build in status columns, I try to build in date columns, date timestamps, that sort of thing, to know when the records are coming through, what their status is, that sort of thing. So hopefully that helps. Thanks for the questions. I appreciate those. Again, if you have any while I'm not online, feel free to hit up my poll gap. But let's talk about DataLemur, or just a quick recap on DataLemur. I like the vibe. I like that it's mostly free. I like all the questions it has. I like the fact that it's SQL, statistics, machine learning. Boundary Soup says, yes, it does. Thanks. Fantastic. That's great to hear. Thank you. Thanks for the question. It has, so DataLemur has Python. We have SQL, obviously, probability, statistics. I saw data science and machine learning here as well. So I do think that this one is more data centric, right? With LeetCode and with W3Schools, those are everything, all the programming languages. But DataLemur is more focused on data people, data analysis, data engineering. Maybe they have some stuff around here, data science. I do see towards the bottom there's quite a bit of premium stuff. Again, everyone's got to eat. I'm not gonna knock anyone for that. They seem to have a fairly good amount. I think enough to sort of prep you for an interview. And I think this is the closest to an interview that I would give and what I would look for in an interview. I wish they would, when you submit, I wish for a couple things. Number one, I wish it was more data to work with, like more records in the problem that you're working in. That's number one. So you could get like a broader thing, because usually I'll shove a table at you during your interview that has like 50,000 records in it, and I'll be like, let's do this. So that would get me more closer. That would get us closer to a real life scenario. And number two, I wish it would tell you slight things that you did wrong. Like, I forgot to do an order by in one of my queries. So I wish it would sort of nudge me and be like, hey, you got it right, but remember, you missed the order by. And I know that's sometimes a little bit difficult, and it's difficult to be very specific on things while also providing a lot, right? Especially when it's free. So I completely understand that. Maybe I'll send a quick message to Nick as well on that. But overall, I'm not going to rank them. I'm not going to rank that. I just feel like if you're looking for something that's just data related, right? Data centric, they're all good, but I would probably lean towards this one. Now, that being said, my video, which I'm sort of quote unquote filming this content for, my video is actually going to have 2 more, and they are my 2 favorite, and it is surprising how free they are. They are totally free, but they are very large companies. One is Microsoft and one is Oracle. And I think the reason that they're my favorite ones and ones that I'd highly recommend, by the way, I still recommend this. I think it's, jump in and go. And it's a lesson while it's also sort of a test quiz style. So definitely recommend this for sure. But the Oracle and Microsoft products that I will be demoing in my video, I think those are, you can cater them to whatever you want. If you have a data set about, I don't know, Dragon Ball Z, if you have a data set about Gundam, if you have a data set about IMDb, which I have many, right? Or I have videos on that. NOAA weather stations, the ISS tracking like we did before. I've done data sets about Puerto Rico, which I'm very passionate about and I love sharing and I love using in my videos as well. If you have your own custom ones, I think those tools are better, because tools like this, while they are fantastic, again, nothing against these tools, these are fantastic tools, they do not give you the flexibility of using their own data. And maybe you don't want the flexibility of using your own data, but if you do, I want to give you the ability to have those. So those are coming up, not in this video, but they will be in the YouTube video that I release, and you'll probably see some stuff. You might even see yourself on the chat if I include the chat. So anyway, that's all I got for today. I'm gonna go eat because I haven't eaten all day, and it is 8:30 p.m. 9:30 p.m. Oh my god, it's really late. I haven't eaten all day, so I should probably eat. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. I probably will be streaming tomorrow and on Sunday, but I'm not 100% sure. Thank you very much for the follows today, and thank you very much for everyone who was in the chat. Thank you, Bowner Soup, for hanging out. Thank you, Pedro Viel, for your subscription, your Twitch subscription with Twitch Prime. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Jonathan, Jonathan Betre. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Morse314, thank you as well. If I missed anyone, I apologize. Thank you folks who were watching on YouTube as well. I saw a couple folks snuck in on YouTube. Really appreciate you, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next time. See you later. Bye.